You are living inside a timeline, but it's not the only one available to you. Right now, all around you, infinite versions of reality are vibrating just out of sight, just out of reach, waiting to be collapsed into experience. And yet, people remain locked inside a single loop, living out the same patterns, the same results, the same frustrations, wondering why nothing changes, even though they desperately want more. Let's shatter something here. You are not stuck because of fate, destiny, or bad luck. You are stuck because your system, your mind, your body, your emotions, your frequency is still attuned to the old timeline. You can't break free by wishing for it. You can't escape by forcing it. And you certainly can't trick the quantum field by pretending. Quantum shift isn't about manifesting harder. It's about stepping into a new state of being so completely, so coherently that the quantum field has no choice but to mirror back a different reality. Let me explain. Most people think manifestation is about desire. Wanting something so badly that the universe delivers it. But here's the truth no one tells you. Desire alone does nothing in the quantum. The field doesn't respond to how badly you want change. It responds to how aligned you are with the frequency of that change. This means that right now, even if you are saying all the right affirmations, making all the vision boards, doing all the visualizations, you might still be signaling the old timeline. Why? Because under the surface, your body is wired for the familiar. Your nervous system is addicted to old emotional loops. Your subconscious is broadcasting patterns of fear, doubt, scarcity. Even while your conscious mind is shouting, I want abundance. I want love. I want success. And here's the most shocking part. The quantum listens to the dominant signal. Not the loudest one. Let that land. The dominant signal comes from your full system vibration. Not just what you think, but what you feel, what you expect, what you embody. That's why you can say, I am wealthy 1,000 times. But if your body contracts with anxiety every time you pay a bill, the field picks up the contraction, not the affirmation. That's why you can visualize love all day. But if your heart is armored and closed, the field registers isolation, not connection. This is the trap that keeps people spinning in the old timeline. They believe change starts outside with circumstances, with actions, with results. But quantum shift begins inside with state, with coherence, with alignment. You must become the version of you that already inhabits the desired timeline. Not someday, not when the evidence arrives, but now. And here's where it gets really wild. Quantum physics teaches us that all possibilities exist simultaneously in the field of potential. Every timeline, every version of you, every outcome you could ever imagine, they are all already vibrating in the quantum. When you shift your vibration, you're not creating something from nothing. You're collapsing into the version that was waiting for you all along. This is why mystics, inventors, and great thinkers across time have spoken about the power of frequency, numbers, codes. Nikola Tesla famously said, if you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would have the key to the universe. These numbers aren't magic tricks. They point to universal patterns, harmonics, and the deep truth that reality organizes itself around vibration. So, the question isn't how do I get what I want? The real question is who do I need to become vibrationally to align with the timeline where that already exists? And becoming is not pretending. Becoming is not faking. Becoming is not performing. Becoming is a full body, full soul shift into coherence. This is the beginning of the quantum shift. You are not here to fight the old timeline. You are here to rise into the frequency of the new one. But before we can go deeper into how to do that, I want you to pause and reflect on this. What version of you has been making your choices today? What timeline have you been feeding with your focus, your attention, your energy? And are you ready to let that version go so a new one can emerge? Sit with these questions. Breathe into them. Feel the edges they press against inside you. Because in the next section, we're going to dive into the invisible forces that keep you locked in the old loop. The resistance, the subconscious patterns, the emotional imprints, and how they hijack your attempts to shift. This is the layer no one warns you about. The part that explains why so many people know the theory of quantum manifestation but never experience the transformation. Are you ready to uncover it? So, let's talk about the real reason people don't shift. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't want change badly enough. And it's definitely not because they're doing manifestation wrong. It's because they're still entangled with the version of themselves that's wired to survive the old timeline. And that version, while outdated, is familiar. And the subconscious mind loves the familiar more than it loves progress. The old timeline doesn't need your permission to keep playing. It just needs your participation. Every time you react the same way, tell the same story, expect the same outcome, the signal gets reinforced. It's like a well-worn neural pathway in the brain. The more you walk it, the deeper it gets. And soon that path becomes automatic. You're not choosing your timeline anymore. It's choosing you. Here's where quantum physics and neuroscience intersect in a way that most people overlook. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect tells us that the act of observation collapses a wave of infinite potential into a single event, a particle, a choice, a reality. But here's the twist. You're not just observing reality with your eyes. You're observing it with your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations. Now add neuroscience. 95% of your behavior is driven by the subconscious mind, which stores all your emotional conditioning, trauma, beliefs, and identity patterns. This means most of the time it's not your conscious intention collapsing the wave. It's your subconscious programming. Let that land. You're trying to manifest from the 5% of you that's awake and aware, while the 95% of you is still tuned to fear, lack, distrust, and survival. And the quantum responds to the dominant signal. So when people say manifestation doesn't work, what they really mean is I haven't yet shifted the internal observer that's collapsing my reality. This is why people loop. This is why you can change your job, your partner, your city, and still find yourself in the same emotional patterns. Because nothing external has the power to override an internal frequency that hasn't been changed. Let me put it another way. The timeline can't shift if the observer hasn't. So what's anchoring you in the old one? Usually, it's resistance. And resistance is sneaky. It shows up as overthinking, as procrastination, as emotional numbness, as hyperproductivity, as fear disguised as logic, as the voice that says be realistic. But resistance always boils down to one thing. Your system believes it's safer to stay where you are, even if you hate it, than to leap into the unknown. And that belief lives in the body. Stored trauma, emotional suppression, inherited fears. They're all coded into your nervous system. That's why you can know something intellectually but still not be able to live it. That's why affirmations fall flat, why visualizations fade, why you keep falling back into the same old cycles. The resistance isn't in your mindset, it's in your chemistry. When your nervous system is dysregulated, it sends a signal of threat to the field. Even when your mouth is saying, I'm ready. That energetic contradiction keeps collapsing the same limited outcomes. It's not personal, it's physics. Nikola Tesla once said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This wasn't metaphorical. It was literal. Your life is a frequency. Your thoughts, emotions, posture, breath, they all create a vibrational pattern that either aligns with your desired timeline or repels it. This is why many people are magnetized to numbers like 36,977 or sacred geometry. They intuitively sense that the universe speaks in pattern, that frequencies are not random, they're encoded into reality. You are not just a person navigating a life. You are a frequency generator embedded in a responsive field. And you've been broadcasting the same old pattern for so long, you've mistaken it for who you are. But here's the good news. You don't have to fight that pattern. You just have to stop feeding it. Let me ask you, where are you still vibrating in fear while declaring faith? Where are you still bracing for rejection while seeking love? Where are you still trying to attract abundance while feeling unworthy of it? These are the subtle contradictions that keep timelines from shifting. In the next part of this journey, we're going to explore what it actually takes to shift timelines, not in theory, but in felt embodied practice. You'll learn how to align the conscious and subconscious, how to regulate your body into coherence, and how to start showing up as the version of you that already lives inside the new reality. But before we move forward, I want to invite you into something real. If you've been feeling like something's clicking into place, and if part of you is waking up to your own power, subscribe. Stay with this space. Grow with us. And in the comments, drop a word, a single word that represents the loop. You're ready to break. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's scarcity. Maybe it's silence. Whatever it is, call it out. Not for me, for you. Because naming the loop is the first act of dissolving it. Now we reach the part that most people never get to. Not because it's hidden, but because it's so simple, they overlook it. Shifting timelines isn't about forcing the quantum field to obey you. It's about aligning so completely with the version of you who already lives the reality you desire that the old timeline can no longer hold you. Let's break this down. Think of the quantum field like a vast ocean of possibility. Every timeline, every version of you, every outcome already exists in that ocean as a wave. When you focus, when you observe, when you align, you collapse a particular wave into form. But here's the key. You don't collapse the wave by wanting it. You collapse it by matching it. And matching isn't just mental. It's emotional, physical, vibrational. It's how your entire system hums when you're in coherence. So why do people struggle to match the new timeline? Because they're trying to get there by thinking about it. They intellectualize the shift. I know abundance is available. I know love is possible. I know I can heal. But knowing isn't enough. Your body needs to know. Your emotions need to know. Your breath, your posture, your habits, your identity, they all need to signal. I am now the version of me who belongs in this timeline. This is where embodiment comes in. Embodiment is not a buzzword. It's the missing link. It's the practice of inhabiting the frequency you want before the external world gives you permission. Let me give you an example. If you're shifting into an abundance timeline, embodiment might mean spending money with trust instead of panic. It might mean breathing into your body when the fear of not enough rises instead of collapsing into anxiety. It might mean showing up to opportunities with openness instead of bracing for disappointment. If you're shifting into a love timeline, embodiment might mean softening your heart when you want to shut down. It might mean taking emotional risks. It might mean practicing vulnerability even when your old wounds tell you to hide. If you're shifting into a health timeline, embodiment might mean treating your body as though it's already healing, already regenerating. It might mean feeding it with respect, moving it with gratitude, resting it with love. See the pattern? You don't wait for the timeline to shift to start living differently. You start living differently, and the timeline shifts. This is why so many manifestation efforts fail. They're conditional. I'll feel grateful when I get the job. I'll relax when I find the relationship. I'll feel abundant when the money arrives. But the quantum doesn't work that way. The I field isn't testing you or punishing you. It's reflecting you. And reflection happens instantaneously, not after a delay. This is where we return to the wisdom of Tesla, the 369, the universal patterns encoded in reality. These aren't superstitions. They're reminders. They point us back to the truth that life organizes itself around energy, not effort. So, the real work becomes, can you become coherent? Can you bring your mind, heart, body, and actions into alignment even when nothing external has changed yet? Can you hold the signal long enough for the wave to collapse? Because here's the paradox no one talks about. The timeline doesn't shift when you get tired of waiting. The timeline shifts when waiting is no longer part of your frequency. Pause. Breathe that in. This is the quantum code. The version of you who has what you desire isn't in the future. They're vibrating now on a frequency you can access today. The question is, will you tune to it? Before we move forward, reflect on this. What would your day look like if you acted, breathed, and moved as the version of you who's already in the desired timeline? What small choices would change? What emotional habits would shift? What conversations would end or begin? This is not about grand gestures. It's about subtle persistent alignment. In the next section, we'll explore how to turn these insights into practice. How to stop looping through information and start living the shift moment by moment. Are you ready to embody the timeline you've been trying to chase? In the next section, we'll explore how to turn these insights into practice. How to stop looping through information and start living the shift moment by moment. Are you ready to embody the timeline you've been trying to chase? Let's begin here. The only practice that matters is the one you actually live. We live in an age where it's easy to consume knowledge, gather techniques, binge-watch manifestation videos, and yet never integrate. Why? Because consuming feels like progress. But progress only happens when the body, the breath, the actions begin to match the information. So how do we bring the quantum shift into daily life? First, you must understand the principle of micro-alignment. Most people think shifting timelines requires massive dramatic changes. But quantum reality responds to coherence, not size. A small act done with pure aligned intention can carry more vibrational weight than a giant frantic gesture done from desperation. Let's break this into simple living examples. If you're shifting toward abundance, your practice might be breathing deeply when scarcity thoughts arise instead of spiraling into fear. Expressing gratitude for small resources, amplifying the signal of I have enough. Spending money with presence and trust rather than panic or guilt. If you're shifting toward love, your practice might be opening your posture when you want to shrink or hide. Reaching out with kindness instead of withdrawing in self-protection, speaking words of affection, even if vulnerability feels edgy. If you're shifting toward health, your practice might be tuning into the subtle sensations of vitality already present in your body. Choosing foods, movements, and rest with your energy of respect, not punishment. Catching the inner dialogue of criticism and shifting it to support. These small acts are quantum keys. They tell the field, this is who I am now. Not who I'm trying to become someday, but who I've decided to be today. But here's the part most people miss. The practice is not about perfection. It's about returning. You will wobble. You will fall back into old loops. You will catch yourself thinking, feeling, or acting from the old timeline. This doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're alive. The power isn't in never slipping. The power is in how quickly you come back. Every time you notice yourself slipping into the old frequency and gently guide yourself back, you strengthen the new timeline. Every time you pause, breathe, and choose coherence over chaos, you reinforce the shift. Every time you act as though the new reality is already true, even when the external world hasn't caught up yet, you collapse the wave. This is the dance of quantum embodiment. Now, let's talk about tools. For some people, practices like breath work, meditation, and visualization help tune the system. For others, using sacred symbols, numbers like 369 or 777 or sound frequencies feels powerful. These tools are not magic tricks. They're anchoring devices. They help the subconscious receive the message that I am attuned to the new reality. But remember, no tool works without embodied participation. You can't outsource your shift to a ritual. The ritual works because you work. So here's your invitation for today. Identify one pattern from the old timeline you're ready to disrupt. Choose one small practical act that embodies the new timeline. Commit to practicing that act today with presence, with sincerity, with love. It might be something as small as pausing for 3 conscious breaths before reacting. It might be choosing to speak one sentence from your desired self, not your fearful self. It might be sitting quietly and visualizing yourself surrounded by the frequency of your chosen reality. It's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And the beauty is the quantum doesn't need time to catch up. It responds in the now. As you step into this practice, remember you are not alone. You are part of a collective of beings awakening to their power, rediscovering their creative nature, and learning how to dance with the field. And this channel, this space is here to walk alongside you. So before we head into the final part of this journey, the part where we explore how to sustain the shift and truly live inside the new timeline, I invite you, if this video has stirred something in you, if you're feeling the pulse of possibility opening inside you, hit subscribe. Stay close to this community. Stay close to these conversations. And in the comments, share one small act you're committing to today. Something that anchors you into your new timeline. It could be as simple as breathe or trust or open. Your word matters. Your act matters because you matter. So here we are at the final step of this journey together. You've traveled through the science, the energy, the subconscious layers, and the embodied practices. But now comes the most important part. Sustaining the shift, because the quantum field doesn't care if you visit the new timeline once. It reshapes around you when you live there. Most people approach manifestation like a single event. They visualize, they affirm, they journal, they wait. And when results don't show up immediately, they collapse back into the old frequency, not realizing that the true magic, the true transformation is in staying. Sustainability is the master key of quantum shift. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to feel good all the time. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending you're high vibe when you're not. This means developing the emotional and energetic capacity to return again and again to alignment. Every time you wobble and come back, you strengthen the signal. Every time you notice an old loop pulling at you and gently choose the new timeline instead, you reinforce the shift. Every time you act, speak, breathe, and choose as though you already live in the desired state, the old timeline loses its grip. This is not punishment. This is mastery. You are learning how to become the quantum signal that collapses the wave. Not occasionally, not when it's convenient, but as a way of life. Let me offer you a simple roadmap. First, daily awareness. Start your day not with your to-do list, but with a tuning. Ask yourself, what frequency am I bringing into today? Are you carrying fear or trust? Are you expecting struggle or flow? Set the intention even before your feet hit the ground. Second, embodied action. Throughout your day, practice micro-alignment. Notice when your actions match your desired timeline and when they don't. If you want abundance, are you acting with generosity or scarcity? If you want love, are you opening or armoring? If you want health, are you nurturing or neglecting? Small repeated shifts matter more than occasional big leaps. Third, emotional regulation. You will get triggered. You will fall into doubt. This is human. The power lies not in avoiding it, but in returning. Breathe, ground, reconnect with the version of you who already knows this is who I am now. Fourth, community and symbols. Surround yourself with reminders. Symbols like numbers, mantras, or sacred images that anchor you into coherence. Stay close to communities and voices that reinforce your chosen timeline. Let the external world become an ally, not a distraction. Finally, gratitude is amplifier. Gratitude is the emotional signature of already having. When you practice gratitude, you signal to the quantum, I am aligned. I am receptive. I am whole. This amplifies the coherence of your field and accelerates the collapse of the desired timeline. Remember, you're not doing this to get somewhere. You're doing this because this is the somewhere. You are not chasing the timeline. You are becoming the timeline. I would like to thank you for walking this journey with me. You are not the same person who pressed play on this video. You are vibrating slightly differently. You are carrying new awareness, a new code, a new possibility inside you. The real magic isn't in remembering everything we've talked about. The real magic is in what you do next. So here's my invitation. Not a homework assignment, not a checklist, just a living, breathing invitation. In the next 24 hours, surprise yourself. Do one thing, just one that belongs to the version of you living in your desired timeline. Maybe it's a choice, a gesture, a conversation, or even a private shift inside your mind or heart. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be real. And when you do it, know this. You are no longer waiting for change. You are being it. If this video has stirred something in you, I'd love for you to subscribe. Not because you're following a channel, but because you're stepping into a space where these kinds of awakenings are our baseline, where we keep raising the frequency together. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for daring to become more of who you really are. Keep going. Keep choosing. Keep surprising yourself because when you do, the quantum field always responds.